Hello, welcome to another installment to my channel. As you might have heard this past weekend, Sir Richard Attenborough died. He was a legendary director and actor. He directed such films such as Gandhi, and of course he was in one of my favorite films of all time, Jurassic Park. So that's what I'd like to take a look at today, is Jurassic Park, and do my review on it, and what I liked and didn't like, and see if it still holds up. Well, what I liked was the effects, and they still do hold up today for the most part. I mean, some of the puppetry looks kind of dated, but it was back in the early 90s, and we didn't have the overload of CG like we have now. So yeah, the T-Rex still looks pretty frightening. I mean, the CG chase scene, that was just fantastically done. I watched this movie again the other night in my review, and man, did that thing still look real. The story was also really well done. As you might or might not know, this movie was actually based off a book by Michael Crichton, where I guess it was a lot different from the movie, but the movie still works. And like, some people live in the movie that die in the book, some people die in the book that live in the movie, and all that kind of thing. So it was still well done by Steven Spielberg. What I also like is how there's so many memorable lines in this movie. You can, hold on to your butts. Life finds a way. They move in herds. They do move in herds. Or, shoot her, or clever girl, or welcome to Jurassic Park, and there's just many more. And, I still have these quotes in my head. Let's talk about the cast real quick. Like, they got Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and of course Jeff Goldblum, who, or what I like to do when I watch his movies is play a game to see how many times he pauses, ums, and ahs, like, it's just hilarious to watch him. It was kind of cute back in the 90s when he was first being discovered, but now if you watch him, it's kind of disorienting. I also liked how Sam Neill was able to hide his accent really well. He's not the only British actor that can do this. There's Gary Oldman, Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman, Andrew Garfield from Spider-Man. I bet you didn't know he was British, did you? Actually, he was born here, I believe, but then he moved over to Britain, but he has a British accent. Christian Bale's another one, too. So these guys know how to hide their accents, and they sound better with their American accents than with their British accents, which is kind of weird. What needed work? Well, like I mentioned before, the effects weren't always the best. Most of the time they were. Like, some of the puppetry, especially with the raptors towards the end. When it got zoomed into their face, sometimes you could tell, yeah, that's a puppet, that's not real. Or with the Dilophosaurus that kills Newman. I know he has a name in the movie, but it's Newman. You can't watch this without seeing Newman from Seinfeld. When it spits that thing on him and kills him, that thing kind of looked fake. If you look real closely, you can even see the string pulling it back, which that kind of ruins it. Still appreciate these practical effects, though, like the Jurassic Park movies have, where it has some CGI and then some puppetry and other type of, pyrotechnic type stuff. I still appreciate that. I hope that Jurassic World, when it comes out next year, will continue that, and not just have CGI dinosaurs, where we'll have some puppetry and then some CGI dinosaurs, a balance for nostalgic purposes. Now, Jurassic Park might seem like a perfect film, but there actually are some leaps and gaps of logic in here. In the climax, when the little kid Tim is watching his sister try to hack into the doors to shut down the security door when the raptors are trying to get in the room they're in, you notice that Alan Grant and then Ellie Sattler are holding the door shut. She's hacking the computer, and he's just standing there, watching her, and like, she's trying to reach for the gun. I'm thinking, go for the gun, get her the gun, give her the gun, give her the gun, and then he doesn't. And well, then, of course, if you've seen the movie, which pretty much everybody has, she gets in there, hacks it, shuts the door, and then they escape. So the Triceratops scene, which is probably one of the most famous scenes in the movie, was actually kind of pointless if you think about it. It was just there to separate everybody. And to throw Triceratops in there, because if you didn't notice, there aren't any more in the movie. It's really only dinosaurs you see in that movie: a Dilophosaurus, Triceratops, T-Rex, and then the raptors. You don't see a bunch of them till the sequels, and there's like a whole bunch of them on that second island, which we might get to those in another day, those other sequels. But it was a cool scene, was when the T-Rex at the end just sneaks into the museum quietly. This thing's supposed to rumble when it walks and fights off all the raptors so they can escape. Like the other scene when it's first introduced, it rumbles. You see the famous glass of water droplet thing. Here it just sneaks in there. How did that happen? I don't know, movie magic, I guess. The other thing was arming Ellie's character, but not Samuel L. Jackson's, when they're going to the same place at separate times, when she goes to go turn the power back on. Why didn't they arm him? Did they just want to see him die? Minor thing is getting over seeing Wayne Knight. When you see him, it's just Newman! From Seinfeld. The kids were kind of idiots in this movie, well, for one thing, they're able to outsmart the raptors, which these things are supposed to be super smart and not able to be tricked easily. Supposed to work as a team, but yet they let these two little idiot kids outsmart them. And another thing is, when the T-Rex is first introduced, the girl shines the flashlight in its face, and like, I'm thinking, why would you do that? Why would you draw a T-Rex over you that wants to eat you and kill you? It screams like really loud when she gets out of the car. I'm like, don't think that thing's gonna hear you? And then it comes there, and then Dr. Grant's like, basically like, shut up. Is this movie still amazing? In a word, yes. The effects hold up still pretty well, and I mean, other than those other things like the puppetry, I mean, I still enjoy watching it from time to time. And so, in honor of Richard Attenborough, I'd say you go watch this movie again. If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? Why have you not seen Jurassic Park after all these years? I mean, I understand. I mean, when it first came out, I didn't get to see it at first because I was too young, and there are some frightening images, so I didn't see it till years later, a few years later. But I just remember the scope and atmosphere. Seeing all these dinosaurs on screen. I mean, I know they're computer-generated effects, but they just look so real. I mean, they still look pretty good to this day. This movie might have been great, but the sequels, on the other hand, are a mixed bag. Some people really liked them, some people really hated them. Perhaps we'll get to those another day. So, rest in peace, John Hammond, and we'll see you next time on my next video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and thanks for watching.